The term GOAT gets thrown around constantly these days. In sports, in music, in culture. We're constantly trying to assess who the greatest of all time is at a given thing. But what if we strip that idea down and asked a more nuanced question? Not who was or is the best, but who was or is so far ahead of everyone else that the gap itself becomes undeniable. This is not about popularity or about who you like. It's not even about just being great. The only thing that matters here is separation. Who didn't just win in their field, but redefined it so completely that everyone else was effectively playing catch-up. Now, there are some domains like religion that have shaped humanity at an unimaginable scale, but a domain like that operates on belief, identity, and meaning, not on something that you can cleanly compare. So instead of forcing a GOAT where the idea doesn't even really apply, we'll try to focus on domains where dominance can actually be hypothesized and evaluated. And even here, this is far from definitive. It can't be definitive. Different eras, different conditions, different metrics. You could reshuffle parts of this list and still make a fairly strong case. And most importantly, GOATs are not fixed. They evolve. If someone fundamentally changes a field tomorrow, they don't just join the conversation, they rewrite it. If someone invents, for example, a working time machine, this entire list breaks instantly. But as of now, across science, art, war, business, and human performance, these are some of the people who didn't just succeed, they broke their respective scales. Let's start with physics. Isaac Newton. He formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation, creating the mathematical framework that explains how objects move, from falling apples to planetary orbits. For centuries, physics operated inside the system he built. Mathematics. Carl Friedrich Gauss. He made foundational contributions across number theory, algebra, statistics, and geometry, often solving problems before others even knew they existed. His work is so broad yet precise that entire areas of mathematics trace back to him. Biology. Charles Darwin. He introduced, as we know, the theory of natural selection, explaining how species evolved over time through inherited variation, thereby permanently changing how we understand life itself. Chemistry. Antoine Lavoisier. He identified oxygen's role in combustion and established the law of conservation of mass, transforming chemistry from guesswork into a quantitative science. He didn't just contribute, he rebuilt the field. Medicine. Louis Pasteur. He proved that microorganisms cause disease and developed vaccines for rabies and anthrax, laying the foundation for modern microbiology and infection control. His work directly increased human survival. Computer science. Alan Turing. He formalized the concept of computation with the Turing machine and helped break Nazi encryption during World War II, in case you didn't know. He didn't just advance computing, he defined what computation even is. Exploration and navigation. Ferdinand Magellan. His expedition completed the first circumnavigation of the Earth, proving in practice the global scale of the planet and expanding humanity's physical understanding of the world. Philosophy. Aristotle. He systemized logic, ethics, metaphysics, politics, and natural science, creating frameworks that shaped intellectual thought for over 2,000 years. His influence spans more domains than almost anyone in history. Economics. Adam Smith. He wrote The Wealth of Nations, laying out the principles of free markets, division of labor, and self-interest as an economic force. Modern capitalism still rests on his ideas. Psychology. Sigmund Freud. He introduced the concept of the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, arguing that hidden drives shape behavior. Even where he was wrong, he defined how people think about the mind. Logic and formal systems, so to speak. Kurt Gödel. He proved the incompleteness theorem, showing that in any sufficiently complex system, there are truths that cannot be proven within the system itself. It's a bit confusing, but he exposed the fundamental limits to logic and mathematics. Literature. William Shakespeare. He wrote plays and poetries that reshaped language, storytelling, and character itself, with phrases and structures still embedded in modern speech. His reach hasn't faded for centuries. Music composition. Johann Sebastian Bach. He mastered harmony, counterpoint, and musical structure, creating compositions that are so precise that they're still studied as the foundation of Western music. He is your favorite musician's favorite musician. Visual art, Pablo Picasso. He co-created Cubism, breaking traditional perspective and reinventing how reality could be represented on canvas. He didn't follow art history, he redirected it. Film directing. This is debatable, but let's go with Alfred Hitchcock. He pioneered modern cinematic suspense, using camera movements, editing techniques, and framing to control the audience's emotion. Much of how films build tension today trace back to him. Architecture. Le Corbusier. He developed modern architectural principles, emphasizing function, geometry, and urban planning. His ideas shaped how cities and buildings are designed across the world. Acting and performance. Again, debatable, but let's go with Marlon Brando. He introduced a more natural, emotionally internal style of acting, shifting his performance away from the theatrical delivery that was common at the time to something more realistic. And modern acting follows his lead. Warfare and military strategy. Napoleon. He restructured armies, tactics, and battlefield movement, winning campaigns through speed, coordination, and strategic innovation. His methods are still studied in military academies. Statecraft and governance. Augustus. He transformed Rome from a collapsing republic into a stable empire, designing political systems that sustained power for generations. He didn't just rule, he engineered governance. Entrepreneurship and business. John D. Rockefeller. He built Standard Oil into a near-total monopoly, controlling an entire industry so completely that governments had to intervene. His level of dominance forced systemic change. Engineering and innovation. James Watt. He improved the steam engine, making it efficient and scalable, which eventually powered the Industrial Revolution. His work transformed energy into usable force at scale. Industrial systems and manufacturing. Henry Ford. He perfected the moving assembly line, making mass production faster, cheaper, and again scalable. He didn't just build cars, he changed how everything gets built. Cultural influence. Now this one's a bit tricky, but I'm gonna go with Michael Jackson. He reshaped music, performance, and global pop culture with reach that crossed countries, languages, and as we're seeing now, generations. His influence saturated the world. Team sports. Now I know not a lot of people are gonna know this one, but Don Bradman. He averaged 99.94 runs per game in international cricket, a statistical gap so large it has no real comparison in other sports. He didn't just lead, he broke the scale. Individual sports. Again, debatable, but let's go with Tiger Woods. At his peak, he dominated golf tournaments by massive margins, combining skill, mental fortitude, and consistency in a way that the sport had never seen. So, what makes someone a GOAT? It's not just greatness, it's also the distance, the gap between them and everyone else. And that gap is never permanent because somewhere, someone is already pushing a field forward again. And when they do, this list changes.